Okay, here we're doing Kidneys 3. Now I do want to remind you about what we did before with the kidneys in Kidney 1 and Kidney 2. I guess I say Kidneys 1. That was gross anatomy in situ locations of the kidneys, and then Kidneys 2 focused upon the nephron, the functional unit of the kidney. Now there's millions of those. They all make urine. They don't have to be all working at the same time, but the end result is that they filter blood to make urine. Now I'm going to show you maybe what looks like a complicated diagram. I actually made this a number of years ago. I'm going to explain it, and then I do have a web link to it at the end of the lesson that I'll show you. Okay, so here we go. I've got it enlarged about as far as I can, and it's really summary of kidney physiology. We're going to start over here at about the 2 o'clock position. I am going to name other lessons that talk about some of these things. Okay, so let's go. Parathyroid hormone. When the arrow goes into the kidney, that means parathyroid hormone has some action inside the kidney, and it increases the excretion of phosphate and promotes the synthesis of the active vitamin D. And you can go back to the Endocrine 7 lesson if you need a review of that. Then here at the 3 o'clock position, aldosterone coming from the adrenal cortex comes into the kidney and tells the kidney to decrease excretion of sodium and water. So that means there's going to be less urine and more blood volume. Okay, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. That's endocrine 13 if you want to go back to that. Antidiuretic hormone, ADH, also called vasopressin. Not sure if I've said that before. Vasopressin, ADH, equal. Posterior pituitary. It comes out of the posterior pituitary, goes to the blood, and says decrease the excretion of water. So that means retain more water in the body. And I think that was endocrine 5, if I recall correctly, I should say. Diuretics. That could be something given exogenously, coming from the outside of the animal, or any endogenous diuretic. A diuretic then, by definition, increases urine production, increases the excretion of water. Okay, so far all these arrows have been coming into the kidney. Make sure you see that. Then we've got quite a little composite group here called nephrotoxins. If you had to define nephrotoxins, you would say poisons that affect the kidney, and in most cases harm the kidney. So I've got heavy metals, lead and mercury, for example. Ethylene glycol, that's the chemical found in a lot of the antifreeze solutions in our vehicles. The coolants, they're called, goes through the radiator. Ethylene glycol, it's sweet. We'll find out sometime, some lesson, maybe in toxicology, where dogs especially love to lick it up and die, unfortunately. It tastes sweet to them, and dogs love sweet. Not so much cats, but cats can be affected as well. Now we're still on nephrotoxins. Some antibiotics harm the kidney, right? Most drugs have some indications, that means what it's good for, and contraindications, maybe things that are bad for the body. And then we have hemoglobin, found in red blood cells, and myoglobin found in muscle cells. Both of those are toxic for the kidney. And then I didn't make a big list here, but acorns, very deadly for the kidney, especially in animals that usually don't eat acorns. So we're obviously not talking about squirrels, but I know somebody that lost a fair number of cattle because they were released into a pasture that bordered oak trees. They ate a lot of acorns. It happens to be dairy heifers, and a lot of them died. Okay, now we're going over here. Atrial from the heart. That's endocrine 9 if you want to go back and see that. The heart makes a hormone when it gets stretched, and it says increase excretion of sodium, and you could say water. So it tells the kidney to get rid of more water and sodium. That's from the heart. Now at the 9 o'clock position, now we have things that are made in the kidney that go out elsewhere. Okay? Active vitamin D, 125 dihydroxycholecalciferol could be the name. Here I've got listed 125 dihydroxy vitamin D3. It's made by the kidney, and of course you can go and find out more. I think that's like lesson 14 where we talked about how the skin, liver, and then the kidney work on vitamin D. This active vitamin D then goes to the gut, and in response the gut absorbs more calcium. Now here at about the 10 o'clock position, we have the kidney making a hormone erythropoietin. That's also found in endocrine 14. And it goes to the bone marrow and it tells the bone marrow to make more red blood cells. Finally, maybe one of our more, what should I say, misunderstood is a good name, renin. Here it is. Renin is an enzyme. You will find some textbooks that call it a hormone. So that's terrible because enzymes are not hormones and hormones are not enzymes. I don't know where that started, but the kidney, and I've got some follow-up diagrams of this. The kidney, when it senses low blood pressure, sends out this enzyme called renin. Notice it's R-E-N-I-N. In the middle there, that middle N, that's right in the middle of the word, is important because there's another renin that's spelled with two N's in that position. Ends up being kidney, senses low blood pressure, releases renin, the enzyme. It ends up promoting angiotensin 2, which we'll find out here shortly what it does. So now I found some beautiful diagrams made by people. I mean, I'm always stunned by some of these diagrams. That last one we just saw was mine, but now I want to show you some other ones here. Okay, and I'm going to bring it in and enlarge it a little bit because this whole system can be called the Renin-Angiotensin-Aldosterone System. And of course, you can pause this and study all this. And that way it saves me from doing it. But I will get my laser pointer and say a few things. Angiotensinogen. And actually, this diagram isn't right because notice I said angiotensinogen is made by the liver, and the next diagram I have shows that. They just call it angiotensin, which isn't quite technically right. But up here, just imagine it's got O-gen on it, O-G-E-N. Renin is an enzyme. converts it to angiotensin-1. This ACE is found in lungs, goes to 2, which then has a lot of effects. So in that one, I'm going to let you digest it, because I think my next diagram has the Angiotensinogen. Okay, but it is valuable to look at a lot of lessons, a lot of diagrams in different lessons. Okay, here's one I like, and they do have the ogen on it. I'm down here in the lower left. The liver releases angiotensinogen into the blood. Angiotensinogen is inactive. It's floating around doing nothing. Only appear when the kidney from a certain group of cells, the juxtaglomerular cells, when they release renin, then renin catalyzes an enzymatic reaction. Because remember, renin is an enzyme, and it takes angiotensinogen to angiotensin-1, tongue-tied there. One is circulating in the blood. When the blood passes through the lung system, there is another enzyme called angiotensin converting enzyme, ACE. It's actually in the blood vessels of the lung. It converts angiotensin-1 to angiotensin-2. This is the active compound. It stimulates widespread vasoconstriction, because remember, renin was released when blood pressure went down. So renin is going to try to get blood pressure back up to normal, or unfortunately higher than normal in some cases, but I'll just say normal for now. It also stimulates the adrenal cortex to release aldosterone. My diagram showed that. And then it does have actions, and you can read that and digest it. Well, then finally, I want to show you the citations of the illustrations that I used, and the first one is mine, so you could go and print off that diagram that showed a lot of what the kidney was doing. You know, it didn't say the kidney makes urine, but you know it does. And then that diagram of mine showed different actions of different hormones on the kidney and what the kidney made. Thank you so much.